Welcome everyone to the Talk to Me United podcast, a podcast about Manchester United tactics. My name is Andy, and on the opposite side of the screen is Ali. This is our midfield transfer show. Since we partner with Y Scouts for clips and stats, Ali and I decided to break down our midfield targets and see who could fill our spots in the midfield for next season to help us to compete in the league and possibly the Champions League. So Ali, who do you have us? Who are our midfield targets did you profile for our show
Yeah.
today?
So we got the four main spoken about. Nali at Newcastle, Baleba at Brighton, and then Adam Morton at Crystal Palace. So the four guys that I've spoken about the most, Prem proven. So that's what we got so far.
All right. Well, let's see what these So the rumor is that we'll be targeting two midfielders since we're gonna let Casemiro. Casemiro is gone. He's not gonna resign. And then it looks like we're gonna let Ugarte go. So that leaves two midfield spots, essentially a 6 and an 8, or two sixes. Well, at least we need at least one 6 and maybe an 8, or two 6s and one 1. So I don't know how many
Quick maths.
permutations, but quick maths. Yes, Big Shaq, quick maths up in here. But basically, we have two midfield spots right now, four people. Ali will now show us the clips presented by Y Scouts, and then we'll take a look at the clips, and then both of us will opine on who are the best out of the four, the best two out of the four.
So first up is the 100 million rumored man, Anderson. So this was a 6-point relegation game against Tottenham. And loses possession, and you can see Tottenham here on the attack. It's like a kind of 5v5 situation, and Anderson is the one that's running back, and there's a massive amount of space here. Well, I think that's great. That's gonna run into. So this shows his mobility and that willingness to protect his backline. That's that's really important skill that he's given this Forest team. So what I really like about this is, in order to play this 6 position, you need to be good in the air, because a lot of the balls, when you're pressing as a unit, a lot of defenses like to chip the ball into midfield. So this kind of line that I've highlighted, you've got to be solid in the air, and that's an attribute that Anderson has. So it was, it's really nice to see that's on display here. He's made sure he's right in the middle, but he has that skill. So here you can clearly see that Forest, they've got 4 in defense, and you got 4 in attack, and then you got the 2 in midfield. So that's actually Murillo that's jumped in, that's pressing Richarlison, and you see Anderson as that kind of second 6. So really trying to press Richarlison aggressively, Murillo, and he's going to turn here, and then you're just going to see trigger as well from deep, which is quite impressive. And again, Forest set up with the 2 up front and then the 4 in midfield. That's their shape. And obviously 4 at the back. Ball comes out. Spurs are playing. And again, Anderson is going to run towards, I think that's great again, and he's going to be the trigger for the press. Really aggressive, very mobile, very athletic. The desire's there, the hunger's there, and again, he's going to go out and press, and then now you're going to see the forward who's going to now press. So Anderson known to be doing that, and I really like this because Forest have a man at the back, and Anderson has got a great delivery. He's got a great range of pass, and he's got a great delivery. So he's not just he's kind of that all-round midfield player. Ball comes out, and he hits this delicious ball to the back stick. And another day that leads to another chance. But great delivery. Again, Forest are in this 4-4-2 shape, which, something that Manchester United do, right? It's quite that 4-4-2 press, that 4-4-2 kind of mid-block, and he's the deepest lying midfield. And you see Richarlison, he's pointing for the ball, he wants that ball, and you're going to see Anderson now go in and be the trigger again. He's going to go and press. He's going to set the press from that central midfield deep lying midfield position. Right, he's kind of that cross between a 6 and an 8. I would say he's an 8, but in this instance, he started off as a 6, but he's the trigger to go and press. He's setting the standards for the tone, and that aggressive nature to go and make Spurs uncomfortable. So then they have to end up recycling the ball.
Thanks again, Ollie, for the breakdown for the clips on Anderson. You know, initially coming into this, I always saw Anderson as a more of an 8 than a 6, to be fair. But I think from what we saw when he played against United in the first half of the season, when we did the comparison with the stats with Cass and your analysis breaking him down right here, I'm getting more and more confident that he can play as a true number 6 and be successful at Manchester United. And it's getting to the point where maybe, you know, price is not no object, and that we must out, like here you said a couple weeks ago on the pod, we should outbid City for him. So those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's funny, like looking at the clips and kind of analyzing his movements, um, and like his attributes. I think this is a really important signing for City more than United. Um, because I think City needs someone very mobile in that midfield, especially we don't know what's going on with Rodri. But I know we're gonna break down another one of the players that, I really want. But like Anderson, so from what I've seen, the potential is there for him to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Absolutely. I think that's what you're buying. You're buying he's solid. He's like a solid 7 out of 10. But you're buying that 7 to 8 to 9 potential. That's, that's what you're paying all that money. He's English, so you're going to meet all the rules for that. I would love to see him at United, absolutely. I just think that City are going to be so aggressive in trying to buy him. And I think they need him more than we do. Just because of the players around at City, because like they have better players than us, so like they need a really mobile number 6 and 8. I think the biggest thing about Anderson is I would put him in like a hybrid 6 and 8. I think he can do both, and I
Uh-huh,
think it's dependent on the game situation where you need him. You almost gotta tell him, you know what to do, right? Like you know when to sit back and you know when to go forward. You know when to trigger the press and you know when to sit back. You know when to distribute the ball. You know what not to do. And the other thing, like observing his clips, he's not as clean as the other midfielder that we're gonna look at. He's not as I'm gonna say he's not as cultured. His
uh-huh.
passing, some of his like ball control, you saw a couple of times there, like he's a bit messy, right? And when you're playing for United, I'm thinking about Pogba, right? Poor Pogba, very neat and tidy, but he likes to dilly dally on the ball, right? And Anderson kind of has a little bit of that. Not as He's not as arrogant as Pogba, but I think it's more about technique. That's why he's quite young, right? And the other player that we're gonna look at, he's kind of like the finished article. I don't think Anderson is the finished article. Very mobile player, but and like his distributions and his qualities there for everyone to see. So I think he has the potential to be a good number 6, a good number 8. I'd almost just give him the you could do what you want kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Just use your like intelligence. But that's quite a lot to give to a young player. So you almost want like some experience around that. Like if you played next to Cass, man, the amount of experience he'd get. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But yeah, like if he's next to Rodri, the league is in trouble, man. What I'm gonna say, man.
I don't know. League. The non-league, yeah, sure.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping more than ever that these charges go through. Yeah.
All right, so who's next on our
Yeah. So next is my guy. It's my guy, Sandro Tonali. So Sandro Tonali in the new camp. He is in a back four. His starting position, and that is what a true number six has to recognize. And Casemiro's done that a lot at his time in Real Madrid. He dropped back, you know, in case Marcelo or another player was bombing on forward, he'd sit back in that position. And you see he starts off in this back four, roll the clip, and you can see that the Barcelona player is spinning in behind him. He wants to vacate that centre back position because the other Newcastle centre back is kind of come in, and the ball is coming out to Lamine Yamal. This is all about intelligence from Tonali from here because he looked over his shoulder. He knows that that ball is gonna Yamal is gonna hit that first time on his left foot. So this is all about intelligence. This is all about the experience he has from playing, in Italy and in the Premier League. He's a really intelligent player, really mobile, and that touch into Hall, that's world class, right? He's not just kicked it out of play; he's kicked it towards a teammate. Perfect weight, and everyone is calm. He brings a lot of calm in there. And now you can see the back four is in place and he's in front of it. True number six. Love that from Tonali. And again, Lewis Hall is going to go and press Yamal. And there's a Barcelona attacker running in behind. Tonali is going to make sure that if there's a gap in that back four, he will make sure that he's covering that. And again, this is at the new cap. You're playing against Barcelona in a big Champions League tie. And he makes sure he's going to be there. Obviously, comes off his leg, and again, strength, tenacity, great play, really professional play. It's just an interception, very aggressive. Again, very strong, very aggressive, clean tackle. He could be a dog when he needs to be, Tonali. So I really like this because you got this triangle, which Barca are famous for. And then, you got the two wide attackers, and no one like Newcastle, like they're overloaded at this point. I've highlighted Tonali there because where he ends up is so important to stopping this attack and this goal. Gets through. How about that for positioning, for awareness? Because if that goes in, then there's Lewandowski, Barcelona are cooking. So again, you see that back four at Newcastle. Who's in front of that? Tonali's in front. That's intelligence, that's timing, and that's a bit. How about? Oh, I think what he does is though he brings that ball out. He spreads that out to Lewis Hall, so he has distribution as well. This unfortunately was against us. Down to 10 men, and again, you want a number six. Tonali is that guy, and I thought he was a number eight. If I'm going to be real, I thought he was a true number eight, but seeing him kind of develop into this six, it's really prevalent because he's always in front of the back four. He's always protecting them. Cunha's trying to get into the half space, and Tonali's denying that. So incredible player, world class play. And again, in front of the back forward, protecting his goalkeeper and his defense. Yeah, those are all the Candro Tonali.
um I agree with your first point that I always viewed him more as an 8 as well than a 6, but he can play the hybrid role. And you know what? This is what happens when you have experience and more polish than Anderson. So I don't know. I like what I see. Let's just put it like that. I'll just leave it like that because I think, you know, I still got two more players to see before, you know, what's the permutation in terms of who's who in his midfield. But no, no, this is a world class player. If I think I said it before on last week's pod that if we are trying to be intent that Manchester United is back, if Ineos is trying to be like are, we have the intent to bring Manchester United back, that we are a serious club, you need to go get world class players, and Tonali would be it. Like he's already producing at either at or a little bit below the world class level. He's already proven. And I also feel like Newcastle is like, well, I think Newcastle's well coached by Eddie Howe, but they don't have enough world class or top notch players to make it fully gel. And I feel like that kind of shows some like not weaknesses, but it doesn't. It's like a what is it? A needle in a haystack. Like Tonali is like that needle in
Oh
that
wow,
haystack.
really? Okay.
Yeah, like he's like
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, he's the needle in the haystack. Like he's the one that's like if he was not in the squad, Newcastle will fall apart.
Oh right, right. I get what you're saying. I disagree. I think Newcastle, when they're fit, their first 11 is incredible. You got Lewis Hall, Livramento, and then you've got the two centre backs like Storr and then Burn
Burn.
or a Botman. That's a solid back line. The keeper's Pope, he's solid. Then that midfield trio of Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton. I think that they have one of the best like cohesive midfielders. And then you've got that attack of like you could put Gordon, Barnes. I think their attack isn't as well polished. Even with Walter Made and who've they got on the right? Elanga, whoever they've got. Like I don't think
Hmm.
their attack is as well classed. I think if you had Isak in there, it's a bit different. But last season, that when that first 11 is fit, they're incredible, especially at home. Um, so I think that's really helped Tonali kind of like settle in to Newcastle because Bruno Guimaraes, he is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Joe
Hmm.
Linton, he's a really industrial like player. He run up and down, he's very physical, and he's got a little bit of quality. So they have like a perfect mesh of that midfield. So my only concern is like, can he play? Like the clips show that he can play that number six, right? He can play that well. I still think he needs quality players next to him. You can you can buy Tonali, but if you don't buy somebody else next to him that's gonna complement him, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? And that could be true
Hmm.
of anybody. I don't think unless you go and buy like Prime Kante, I don't think any like other midfielder can do that. But like Tonali for me, if you sign him, it's like what you said. You're buying for now, and if we get Tonali, that's my guy. I want Tonali, right? I think he has to be top of the list. Um, because the other players they're not as polished, and I do think it's going to contradict my point. I think he could probably do the job by himself better than every other player we're looking at because he has the experience. His distribution is incredible. His intelligence is there. Like he has every single attribute. He's quick on the half turn, um, and he might not be as quick as Baleba or Anderson. Maybe the same amount of pace, but like his positioning is better than either of those two. He has the best positioning of all
Hmm.
the midfielders that we look at. Um, and yeah, he just has a swagger about him. He's kind of like, and this is what they described in Milan was he's like a cross between Pirlo and Gattuso, right? Like you can see that because he's very, doggy in defending, but so classy on the ball.
And hopefully he
So,
doesn't go into coaching because both of them suck as coaches.
yeah, it's true. Sometimes very good, sometimes very good, sometimes very. um, but yeah, like I really rate this guy. This if United get him, that's a signal of intent for me, man. Like that's okay.
Okay.
We're back to being a serious club. The difference between him and Anderson is Anderson has the potential to get there. He's English, but Tonali for me is already
And
there.
30 to 50 million
Well, no,
between the two.
I think Tonali's gonna cost you 80, and I think Anderson's gonna be like 100. So 20 million
They-
difference
They're looking at 120. So
for Anderson.
yeah.
Yeah, I would get Tonali for 80. Like that to me, I think. And again, if City get Tonali, City could do with Tonali as well, right? Like, and I don't believe it. If he goes to Arsenal, it just doesn't make sense. So it's between us and City. And I think we're in a decent position because we're either going to get Anderson or we're either going to get Tonali. We're going to get one of them. I want Tonali. Um, but
And
yeah,
just
that's
and just remember, folks, Newcastle, because of financial fair play, they're in trouble with UEFA. They would have to sell at least 135 million quid to be on the books for UEFA. So
yeah. So yeah, you sell Tonali and you sell, a couple other players or one other player like Hall. Love to
yep,
take Hall, but I don't think it doesn't make sense for them to sell
both.
Livramento or Hall because like they're both young wing backs, and you give them another season or two, and they're going to be 60 million plus, right? Um, I think Lewis Hall is a great player, and so is Livramento. But I think again, like getting Bruno Guimaraes, like I think though those rumors have died down, but I want Tonali over Bruno Guimaraes, like completely. Different types of players, different types of qualities, but Sancho's my guy, man. Inshallah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, in his locker. Not really many clips on Adam Wharton. Belaber's number one fan. What are you saying?
How can you not want him? At least for not maybe not as a six, but maybe as a eight or a hybrid 6 and 8 to complement somebody who's like a true six. Somebody who can come close down the ball, do his interceptions. He has great pace. He can progress the ball. I know we don't have any clips of him progressing the ball forward, but he can take the ball from the defender's feet and progress the ball up. Yes, it's kind of erratic in terms of his passing. He can make a nice clean pass. He can also make it very messy. But the idea of taking it from our back line to the opposition to the top of the box is something I want to see from like a progressive eight. And I feel like he has the attributes and stuff to do it. Look, he got denied his move to Manchester United this past summer. He scolded about it and things of that nature. I know it's gonna look bad and people are gonna question his attitude and yada yada yada. But hey, he may have knocked down his price 20 to 25 million quid, so that could be helpful. But I think that no matter what rebuild or whatever permutation you're going to use, I think Baleba is part of it. He's at least one out of your two midfielders that you need. I still believe, you know, you can even mold him as a six down the road because he does have the attributes. But having like, this is how I want Kobe to play. Like, to be honest with you, like maybe not the pace and stuff, but this is how I want Kobe to play.
Okay,
This is how
right,
this
right.
is how I
Two
this is
two
how I see
completely
this is
different
how
players. This
this is
is
how
the
I
whole
see.
Frankie De Jong situation again. Two
Yes,
completely different players. Kobe is a link man, and Baleba relies on his pace and his like his IQ for intercepting and his positioning. Right, Kobe is not that guy. Like in a tight space, Baleba like isn't gonna like shimmy someone and isn't gonna like
mm,
find a pass under pressure. That's what Kobe can do. Like that's Kobe's never gonna play like that. So I wouldn't even put him in that box, right? Like for
Fine,
me,
fine, fine. I'll take back my comment, but I
and
feel
and the
like
other thing is
I like to
you got to
see
come
my
with the
eight.
same energy that you've been coming for Kobe at the start of this until January under Ruben. His mentality, Belabor has had that same mentality, but you're not really slating him for it. I have to call you out,
Because
man, because
because no,
you're
no, but
kind of saying yada
here's the
yada
difference.
yada, but like
Here's the difference.
he's been playing bad, and he's been given the opportunity to play Belabor. He's not been playing well.
And that's completely fine, but at least Balebas has not gone out and publicly say that I don't want to play for Brighton. I'm going to want to leave because of whatever.
Because
You know,
then
the root.
his actions are
It,
speaking louder than his words.
but then Kobe's action was it's like if Ruben's still here, I want to leave Manchester United on loan to go
Yeah,
get World Cup minutes.
to get minutes. Like obviously World Cup is there, but like
That's what.
I think he was totally valid, man. And I think like our if you look at our form with him in the team and the results that like we picked up around that, he's completely validated for wanting to play. He's played. I think he's probably started most of the games, and we've looked at all the games that we've won, right? Our performances haven't been spectacular. Like I'll get you that, but we're still winning with him in the team, which suggests that him being sidelined wasn't the best thing. But when he was coming into the system, like he couldn't play the system, right? So it's kind of one or the other. So if you can't come into the system, you want to play. It's natural. You just played in the Euro final, so like you want to play. So again, I'm not gonna begrudge him of that. If I'm gonna be honest between the two, I would say I have an issue with Belabor's mentality compared to Mainu's mentality because Mainu wants to play, right? And Belabor's like, oh, I didn't get my dream move to United. Like, I'm just gonna sulk. And his performances have been dreadful, man. Start of the season was really bad. Then
Right, really bad for.
Afcon saved him because
Right.
he
Because
played
AFCON is
better in
a,
Afcon.
yes, because AFCON is a different mentality. Is he
Yeah,
playing for your country? Things of that nature. Look, let's just move on before
I'm
we
just
break before we break up
I'm
on
just
this.
saying, come with the same energy that you came for
I'm coming.
Mainu, that
I'm
you came
coming.
for Baleba,
I'm
because
coming.
they both had the same, and they're young. Like it's what Baleba's what's happened to him, I completely understand it. You wanted to move to United. I get it. Like you're gonna feel down about that, and it's so natural. And it's just like I think just with the younger players, you just got to be careful about slating them a bit. Um, that's
Yeah,
just
but yeah,
my take.
but 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 just for Kobe, like he did rub me off about putting his country over club, and
I
then
I th-
I just feel like I
I
feel
don't think
like
it was as big as that though. Yeah, I don't think it was. I think he wanted to play. Like he wanted to play, and I think Diego Dallo said, something great. He was like, "This could be the biggest, best thing for him in his career," because he was used to playing all the time, and then when you take away something
mhm.
that's like your oxygen, and then you then give it back, you then realize the importance of playing, and his performances have kind of been medium, not too great, not too bad. So, you know, yeah, that's Kobe. And Kobe is a complex problem. I completely understand. But if you give me Tonali, Baleba, and Kobe, that I think that midfield cooks, man. I think that cooks. And then you
So
got
we're
a
so we're
Bruno
so
problem. You got a Bruno
yeah,
problem.
exactly. I was about to say is like you were gonna offer it, but let's keep this conversation
Yeah.
for the end. Now we're going on to the next man.
Yeah, this I can't lie. I got much here, bro. I got much. Baleba against Liverpool comes out, and he's the deepest lying midfielder in that role. And the thing that really impresses me about Baleba is just how quick he is across the ground and his decision making for quite a relatively young player. So covers the ground in front of that back four. Really, really well done. This is a recovery. And this was, 96th minute of the game. He's out there to press. He's out. He wants to get that ball. Ended up being a foul, but that's a 96. He's just covering again. So, recovery again. I really like this from Baleba. Now, this is Hincapié. I know he's left footed, but that ball really needs to get into Eze. if Arsenal were a progressive team, that ball is getting to Eze. But Baleba knows that they're not a progressive team, so he knows that this ball is going backwards because Arsenal are a safe team. So he's gonna go, and he's already predicting where this ball is gonna get passed. That shows intelligence. That shows IQ. He's just gonna run and press Rice and completely hound him. And what I really like about this is you're gonna see that left boot that he's wearing a pink boot. He comes in on that left boot and just ricochets the ball off of Rice. And this one, right? Rice, time on the ball. You're gonna think that he's gonna be able to pass this off to Martinelli, no problem, right? Baleba's not even in the picture, right? That's how far off he is. And but all the attributes for the potential is there. And his pace is incredible. Across the ground, he's just rapid. Like completely rapid. Um do I think he could do that position by himself? I don't think so. But I think he just needs someone next to him, like a Tonali. So look, my opinions on Warren, right? Look, I think he's a
Mhm.
Barcelona type player, someone that you need to have all the possession, and he's really neat. Or like City. I think Real Madrid
Mhm.
want him because if you have pace around him and you've got players with great movement around him, then he's gonna be a baller. But you need someone next to him that's really industrial, um, and that's experienced because that's not his game. His game is he's a really technical player. He can find the lines so well, either for under pressure. He's a special player. He's a special player, and a team like City or Arsenal. I think Liverpool want him. I don't
I
know
don't
how that'll
see.
go. I
Yeah.
I mean, like I get it because you've got if you get rid of McAllister and you get Wharton, that's good because then you have Gravenbeck and Soboslai to do all your running for you, and then he can find Verts, and then he can find Isak, and he can find Ekatike, and whatever winger. I think they need a couple wingers. I think Wharton I can see that. I can see that, but you have to get
Mhm.
rid of McAllister, and McAllister's a great player. So you're kind of like, well, what do you do? But Warren, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think United need him. Even if Bruno
So
leaves, yeah, I just don't think. I don't see it.
I see Wharton as if you're going to let go Kobe. If you were to let go Kobe, like let him go, Adam Wharton would probably be his replacement. That's how
Yeah.
I view it as somebody, you
You
know,
know what? On that, right? Wharton is a less complicated player than Mainu.
correct.
And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of fans struggle to see Mainu's attributes and what he gives the team. Whereas Wharton, it's like he's gonna give you distribution. He's gonna give you way of pass, threading of like needle
Middle
passes.
passes, yep.
You know, I don't. He can't take the ball under pressure as well as Kobe, but he does it well.
Mhm.
But it's his ability either for first touch and then either for distribute it out. That is one of the hardest things to do in football, and he has that skill. That's why I call him a baller. But if he was in the team instead of Mainu, there would be a lot less like chat around him. You see what you can get, but I think, and
Mhm.
I'll be honest, like because Kobe is from Manchester and because he is an academy player, I have a level of like protection that I want to give him.
Nepotism.
Yeah, and that's our club. That is
Right.
literally our club because you want to give these academy players the biggest chance for success. And again, other than Warren, there's no young, 21, 22-year-old that's absolutely balling. And Anderson plays for Forest, and they're in the relegation battle. Warren plays for Palace, and they're mid-table. Kobe is at Manchester United, and like the pressure that comes with is like that's going to add so much more to your game. So, and he's quite a level-headed player anyway, Kobe. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's just a comparison between Morton and Kobe. And I'm being
And
objective there. I'm being objective.
like the heir to where Bruno was playing that in the back in the
Yeah,
midfield too, as
yeah,
the eight. Like in fairness, but
yeah.
because we're not in
With like a Tanali next to him.
right
Yeah,
with a Tonali next to him, correct, to distribute out to your tens and to your wing backs,
yeah. He just
bombing
he
down
just
to the
needs
side.
someone. He needs
Right.
someone intelligent and experienced next to him. Warren. and that is mobile, right? Baleba is mobile, but he doesn't
Not
have the
experience,
experience
experience,
and he
exactly.
doesn't have the intelligence yet. I think he has IQ, but it's not as high as Tenali,
Right.
and that's experience. And he's like six years older than him.
All right, man. So before I give you my opinion, so out of all the four players, who are the two you're taking this
Tenali
summer?
and Baleba. Tenali and Baleba. I want those two. Give me those two, man. And that's what I want. And I looking around, those are the two players I want. What about you?
So taking into account of money, experience, and what we need from a midfield perspective, the safer bet and more like mature thing as Manchester United should do as a club is get Tonali and Baleba, right? In an ideal world, if you already knew that Bruno was going to go, if you know that Bruno was going to go and you had the funds, I would get Anderson, Tonali, and Baleba. Do a complete revamp.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even sure about that, you know? So here's what I'm going to throw. If Bruno goes, and we haven't covered this player,
Right.
I'm going out and I'm getting Morgan Rogers for 100 million. Because
When I told you that the other time when we
I,
played against them, you're like, I don't know about that. I told you about either Morgan Rogers or Gibbs White. Those are the
right,
two.
and again, I would
Right.
get Gibbs White or Morgan Rogers over Anderson because Anderson, I've not seen that thread of a needle pass, and if you don't have that in this team, you need that in the final four. Like, look at his connection with Sesko, right?
Right.
And I think Morgan Rogers, he's a different type of player, Morgan Rogers. He's still young, but dude, I've seen him live. The game is so easy to him, a bit like Bruno. He doesn't have that stardust that Bruno has. But what is he? He must be like 24, right?
Right.
Like he's still got time. And the guy does not stop running. And that's one of the things like if you had like Bruno he doesn't stop running, but he's not exactly the quickest. Rogers has got a bit more pace. He's not quick, he's not rapid, but he's got a bit more pace. But he does not stop running. It's actually it's incredible. And I saw him score against West Ham. Incredible finish. Bruno-esque. Bruno-esque
Right.
finish.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into my next point that you would rather have the 6'8" and an advanced 10
Well,
instead of a 6 and 2 8s, 1 8 being, you know, deep lying, playmaking, box to box, and then you have an advanced playmaker midfielder.
like I've just not seen it. So like how I traditionally like what my favorite system is it's gonna be like Jurgen Klopp's system, which is the 6 and the 2 8s that run around, but that's you got a bit of that sprinkle of like stardust of like threading
Uh-huh,
the needle of the past.
uh-huh.
I haven't seen that from Anderson. If you gave me Wharton's ability in Anderson, I'm taking Anderson because Wharton can find that, thread of a needle pass. It's a tough one, man. I see because what I saw Unai Emery do was Morgan Rogers goes in possession. He's actually a winger, right? He's like
Right, because he
right or
comes
left
come
midfield, and then out of possession he plays as like the second striker, right? So his industry is incredible, so I can see him doing that in midfield. Like if he needs to come back, you just tell him come back, and he'll play as an 8, right? And he's got great technique, and he can use both feet. So just because you're a number 10, he's like a 10, like a wide midfielder, and like an advanced 8. He's like all three of those things at once. And Gibbs White is a little bit similar to that, but I think he's
central.
better. Yeah, he's better central. And I just think man, and Anderson or Rogers, that would be tough, man. I
But
don't know.
but again, it depends on what manager we get and why they want to play. If they want to play
Uh,
with 2 8s and keep it central, or like a flat, three in the mid, like how you like, or you want to have that, 2-1, two midfields and one attacking, like a true 4-2-3-1. So that's where it depends on the manager. But in terms
yeah.
of like back to our original stuff of like, I think that Tenali as a true number 6, Baleba as a hybrid 6-8 with Bruno on top, that might cook. I think that
Yeah,
will cook. No, that will
that will
cook.
cook. That will cook.
That will cook.
Yeah, I would
Especially in
have.
Champions League,
Yeah,
it will cook.
yeah. I would have Belabor as the 6, and then I'd give Tonali the 8, and I'd give Bruno the 10.
10.
Um, I and I think like in the big games, you just say Tonali like it's a 4-2-3-1. But like I think when you're dominating the ball, you just need Belabor at the back, like ready to anything that comes
It
out.
comes
He's just
in.
gonna run along. And
Right.
but the most important player you have to get for me is Tonali. You like if you get Tonali and you then get like someone from La Liga or whatever, you've built like a foundation, and then you can still have your eyes on Baleba. But I think if you prioritize Baleba over all of them, and think about it, he's playing next to Mainu, that's way too young. That's like playing Euro in heaven for the whole season.
Right. Right.
Like that's not good. So I think the priority is Tonali, and then this like if you can get Baleba, great. If you can't get him the season after, because then he'll be what 50 million. So yeah, I would love to see him join this window, but I think the priority has to be Tonali. And like it's funny because before seeing all of Anderson's clips, I was like, oh, Anderson would be great. Seeing his clips, I'm just like, he's just not polished like Tonali. And Tonali's doing this in the Champions League. You know, he's doing this in the Champions League, in the new camp, or like wherever, like, you know. Didn't do it for Italy, but like, you know,
That's a different story.
yeah,
That's why I
like,
said Gustasto was not a good manager.
yeah, Gattuso, but that's my guy, man, Sandro Tonali.
No, no, look.
And I wanted him from Milan, to be honest. I was
I know.
shocked when he went to Newcastle. I was
Well,
flabbergasted.
well, clearly we all know why now. You don't bet.
It
You
kind of
don't.
worked out.
Of
It worked
course, it.
out. Yeah.
I think you made a good point in terms of if it's going to be Anderson and Baleba as the two, that's going to be a hard sell. And I think you might have to go get somebody else like outside to play as like a true number 6, or at least have some experience for some games of like you have an experienced number 6 to come and ride the ship out. Right. And I also kind of find it's like I think we both agreed in past shows that we want a 6 as a destroyer and like just take the ball away. But I feel like now we're saying like Tonale and Baleva, and they have the attributes to be a destroyer, but they do not play like a destroyer on their current teams right now. And I feel like
I
if
think Tonali
he's not like a
does.
he's
He
not like
does because he's all those clips I showed. He's in
he goes back.
front of the back four. He's the only guy in front of the back four. And he's when you mean destroy, it depends on like what you mean, like advanced destroyer or like protection destroyer. Like which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about like he sees the ball coming and he steps out and takes the ball off.
I think he can do that. I think Baleba does that more, but I think Tonali's more of a protector. Like if you
Mhm.
get through, if you're looking at the back four, you're gonna have to get past Tonali, and I like that. I like because like he's amazing at it, and Casemiro hasn't. That's what Casemiro used to be for Madrid.
Right,
So
right. So it'll be interesting,
yeah,
and
but
especially with all the
Anderson,
money.
man, I've kind of gone off Anderson. I can't lie. I'm kind of like I
You
think
follow?
Anderson's like if we were in a
He's
better
nice.
if we were in
He's
a better
nice.
situation,
Yeah.
then I would get Anderson. But like, the more I think about it, City needs Sandro Tonali or Anderson. They need one of them because if Rodri goes, they're gone. And Bernardo Silva's going.
How many times I tell you they don't need these players in the non-league?
Dude, they just
They-
they just scare me, bro, because they're not even playing that well, and they're still like doing their like level of excellence is so high. But like once you take Rodri and Silva out of that team, bro, like they're gonna be aggressive in the midfield market. And I can see Tonali going to C, and I can see Anderson going to C. I feel like Tonali might end up at C, but they won all the stories. All the stories are that they won Anderson.
and and all the stories have said that they're ahead in the race and are willing to pay close to 120 to Force.
Yeah, and it's you know what it is.
And
It's Rodri. It's because Rodri's leaving. He's if he leaves, then you're in trouble, man.
again, they don't need them in non-league, And then when Chelsea 2 goes into administration, there's going to be a
I mean,
fire
Enzo's
sale.
already out. Yeah, give me
Yeah.
Caicedo. Give me Caicedo. Give me Caicedo.
Then there'll be a true, you know, fire sale there.
Yeah,
But look, this
yeah.
was a great breakdown. Thank you again, Ali. This is our, like I said, we have the clips. We're thinking on how to use it. So now because United had a 23-day break in the season, we had extra time, so we thought we'd do this. But, going forward towards the end of the season, we'll include more because, rumors are that we're looking for two midfielders, a left back, a left winger, maybe a backup striker, and a center back. In an ideal world, I think we might just get two midfielders, a left back, and a winger, in my opinion. Now that Harry Maguire has resigned for a center back, I don't think center back is that much of
Yeah, I
enough
don't think we need
importance.
centre back. I would.
Importance.
I think left back is after midfield. You need a left back, man.
Yeah. So we'll probably do some videos with regards to that of like who have United been looked at and how would they fit into the team. Again, this is trying to some of the content we're trying to utilize with our Y Scout package. But next up is Leeds United Monday Night Football. We will have our review then, and then we face Chelsea, who should be
Oh,
going to administration the following game. And then after that, it's 5 games left of the season after these two. And it's been confirmed that England will get the 5th Champions League spot. So we're
yeah.
third, so we're looking good. Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesday nights are coming back for United. And
Sure.
that and all that extra money to help fund
Oh
this,
yeah.
Somebody did the
I
math.
told you, bro. I told you England will get in the 5th spot, man.
Right,
I
I know.
told you. I've been saying it from day one. The math is just there.
And the Sun and everybody's been doing the permutations that we could get 11 spots in Europe next year
Oh yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
of all the trophies and
It's
things.
rigged in our favor, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we're the superior league. No, somebody did the quick maths. We don't even have to kick a ball. We don't even have to kick a ball in Champions League, and we already got 70 million quid right off the bat because there's like 30 million right there in terms of qualifying. We get back our $10 million penalty from Adidas. Now we're back in Champions League.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's 40 right there off the bat. And then they already counted like the wins and the TV, like if you win, you get like 2 million quid. If you draw, you get 700,000. But basically, they did all the math, and with the tickets and sponsors and TV money, you get to the 70 mil before you even kick a ball.
Yeah.
So 70 million
Yeah.
can go to some midfielder right there. Like that's why we said, a lot of people killed us for Casemiro's deal. But if he got us in Champions League, the Champions League pays for the deal itself. And guess what? We got Champions League that season. So
Yeah. And he's one of the reasons why we're gonna get it this season as well.
exactly.
So that's twice he's done that, and obviously Bruno as well. But like, yeah, man, I think a lot of sales are coming out of United as well. You got like
That too.
Rashford, Højlund, and so you got money's gonna be there. It's
And
just
let's see, 44 for Højlund, 30-ish for Barcelona from Barcelona for Rashford, even though they're being cheapskates and can't pay it.
they need him.
But
I'm sorry, but you need Rashford, and 26 million pounds for Rashford is an incredible deal.
It's a steal, and they still
It's
can't
a
pay it.
steal. Yeah, it's
So
ridiculous.
that alone, 26 plus 44 is quick math, 70 million. So that's 140 million right now you have in your piggy bank to play with, and we're not even including people who we could be selling for.
Yeah,
The deadwood, and also too, let's not even consider all the free agents like Sancho's money, Malasia's money is going off the books.
What I'm looking at is if Julian Alvarez goes to Barcelona, Mason Greenwood goes to Atletico. Well, that's like he's got to go for 80 million at least.
And then
70
we
million.
at least got a 50 million.
50. We get 50%.
Yep.
Yeah. So then there you go.
And that's pure profit too.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's something that would be amazing to have. So, yeah, I feel like we're in a decent spot, and like it's just depending on how they want to go about it. Because our defense is good, our attack is like there, but we need depth, man. Like looking at I feel like the only reason Arsenal are still where they are is because of their depth. Their depth has saved them. And it's not necessarily like they don't have a quality left winger, and they don't have a quality
right back. Because Ben White is
right, a Declan Rice replacement. Well, Marino's injured, but like I think those are the two positions. Like if they had quality there, they'd be fine.
And also, they are running into money issues as well that they would have to sell to be financially stable.
Give me Miles Lewis Skelly, bro. Give me Miles Lewis Skelly. Give me Miles Lewis Skelly, bro.
No, we don't. Dude, we don't want them to stay afloat because if they sell, they lose all their squad depth and quality, and that their window closes even before it even opened. The the self demise of Arsenal happened before they did any trophy winning.
It's gonna. I think. It's gonna be really interesting. Like this summer transfer market's gonna be fascinating because we're back, man. We're back, and I think trying to be in contention for the league next season is the next step. But we just got so many fixtures. We're gonna have so many fixtures, so they just need to like manage that, man. But Tonali, bro, no World Cup. Just sign him. Sign him now, man. He's got nothing going on. He's gonna be fresh in August. Come on, there's
And
no
also,
reason not to sign him.
too, Cameroon too is not in the World Cup. So
Oh yeah,
Baleba,
Baleba and Bumo, they're gonna be rested. But obviously, Baleba for who we want to sign. There you go. Start the season off well. Do your business, man. Handle your business, United.
yeah, let's be a proper squad. I don't care. I don't care. Look, I
I'm
don't care
getting
if we
hyped.
don't announce our manager till after the World Cup. Like, just for example, if it's Nagelsmann, like let it be under wraps till after his World Cup because we know how these national teams get when their coaches decide to take a
Yeah.
club team during World Cup season. Like we know how pissy fit they get. Fine, let it be. Like as long as you have your coach, you have your vision of how they want to play, or even how you want to play as a club, and you're just going to dictate it to the future manager, coach, whatever the hell you want to call them at this point. But let's get it done.
Yeah,
Let's
but
just
I
get
think
it done.
Baleba and Tonali are two players. It doesn't matter what coach you have. Like you need those
Right,
players.
right.
Like Miles Lewis-Skelly will depend on what coach you have. Morgan Rogers or Gibbs White or whoever. If you're looking to replace Bruno, that depends on your coach. But those two midfielders, and you know that you got outgoings in Casemiro, so and you want to sell Ugarte, so you need those two. Like those are irregardless of your coach. So. I'm sure they know that.
We hope.
Yeah.
Still skeptical
Uh,
about.
I'm getting
Let's be
excited though,
fair.
man. We're in a good place, man. We're in a good place. We're in a good place.
And you know what
Alhamdulillah.
that means? And you know what that means for you guys? Content. More content. All the
Exactly.
time. All right, guys. Look, this is our midfield. Both Ali and I agree it's going to be Tonali and Baleba. Let us know in the comments. Let us know who you want. We'll pull it out on a poll when we upload this of like, who do you guys want? Let us know so we can take back the feedback. But it was a pleasure, Ali, talking and breaking down the clips. And again, we'll catch you guys on our Leeds recap. And hopefully we get 3 points and we can solidify Champions League. Ollie, do you hear that? I think that's the Champions League anthem playing in the background.
Bro, I missed it. It's
We
been
got
too
it.
long, man.
It's been too long. We gotta get ready. We gotta get our arms ready to wave the Champions League banner flag in the middle of the
Oh,
field. And just remember, guys, no more Star Ball. Then 2027, Champions League is going to with Nike now as the ball. So pour one out for
no, man.
Adidas.
That doesn't feel right. I
Neither
want United to
neither
go back to Nike, man.
neither is
I want.
Nike. Neither is a Puma ball in the EPL.
Awful. Awful. But the Champions League ball, there's something about like I just love the Adidas bit. It's just great, and I like the
Mhm.
Nike Prem ball and the Adidas. That's the best rotation.
And I totally agree. I think United needs to go back to the glory days of Nike, not this
Come on,
Adidas.
Adidas, man. I hate it, bro. Every team is Adidas
Free
nowadays.
easy, bro.
Even
Free easy.
Umbro, even Umbro, like what you're rocking, man.
Well, that's yeah, it's a subsidiary of Nike.
There you go.
Yeah, Nike owns it now too. So,
I thought Umbro were British, man. Back in the day, they were British.
and now they got bought out by the Americans, ruining everything for you, bro.
Always, man. But we love the Americans that watch, that tune in.
That is true. All right, guys. So we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.